The call came just before the wheels left the ground. Static. Then my son's voice, cracked and frantic. "Dad, Mom's lover and his men, they locked me in the garage. They said they'll execute you on the front lawn, and then it's my turn." My grip on the phone didn't change. My voice didn't rise. But my vision narrowed to a tunnel. He sobbed once more, softer this time. "And they made me clean their dirty boots." The engines roared. I was already airborne. I knew then they wouldn't see the morning. Not because of rage, not because of blood, because their world, everything they trusted, was about to fold in on itself. Quietly. I sat back, eyes closed. I didn't need sleep. I needed precision. Her last letter was still in my jacket pocket, signed with love. The kind of love that smells of perfume and someone else's cologne. I'd smelled it before, on her, weeks ago. The calls she wouldn't take in my presence. The new, low laugh. She'd told me it was a friend from work. I had believed her, the way a surgeon believes in anesthesia. You trust it until you feel the knife. I had my suspicions, but suspicion is an untamed thing. You can't swing it like a weapon. You have to sharpen it, shape it, know its weight before it touches skin. When my son called, it wasn't just a threat, it was proof. Proof of another man's boldness. Bold enough to stand in my house, bold enough to speak to my son as if he owned him. The flight was 9 hours. Enough time to carve a plan so precise it would feel like inevitability when it landed. I began with the easy cuts. Phone records, her number lit up on the same unknown contact every night for months. Bank statements, cash withdrawals, 2 cities away, same days I was gone. Security footage, my neighbor owed me a favor. I collected it in silence. A man's silhouette, his hand at the small of her back. Her smile, softer than the one she'd saved for me. It wasn't enough to confront. Confrontation is clumsy. I needed evidence so complete that her denials would choke her. A paternity test sat in a lab by day 5. My son was mine. That was the only mercy. The rest was a slow suffocation of secrets. I learned his name, his employer, the fact that his wife, yes, wife, was a woman who kept her nails short and her eyes colder than mine. She would be useful. I never told my son what I was doing. I told him I'd be home soon. And I would. Not to rescue, to reclaim. The envelope arrived the morning I landed. Inside, a full dossier. Dates, locations, photos. His face close to hers, mouths inches apart. Bank transfers, hotel receipts, a rental cabin under her maiden name. I read it once, then again. No emotion, just an inventory of betrayal. That night I set the papers on the kitchen table. She walked in from the hallway, hair damp, phone still in her hand. "What's this?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Her fingers trembled before her voice did. Where did you get this?" I just watched her read, every line draining color from her face. When she looked up, the silence between us was a verdict. The next morning I sent the same file, unaltered, to his wife and his employer. At noon, I invited her lover to our home. She thought it was an olive branch. It wasn't. He stepped in, saw me at the table, saw the folder in front of me. Didn't sit. "This," he started. I slid the second envelope to him. Inside was the divorce petition his wife had already signed, a restraining order, a letter from his company stating termination for misconduct. He didn't speak again. She stood in the corner, eyes darting between us, realizing she was no longer in the center of anything. Not his life, not mine. I didn't shout. I didn't threaten. I only said, "You both built this. You can live in it." Then I walked out. The air outside was cold, sharp. I could still hear their voices behind me, small and desperate. Not my problem anymore. My son was at my sister's, safe, unaware of the precision it took to dismantle 2 lives without raising a hand. People think revenge is fire. It isn't. It's ice. It melts slow, but it leaves nothing standing. I didn't look back at the house. It wasn't mine anymore, not in the way that mattered. I'd taken what was mine, left the rest for them to rot in. By nightfall, their world would be ash in the minds of everyone they knew. By morning, I'd be somewhere else entirely. When people betray you, they imagine they're walking away. What they don't see is that you've already closed the door and turned the lock from the other side.